Ladies, you ready?
Yep.
Awesome. We can go ahead with questions. We'll start with Ryan.
Yeah, for both of y'all, I want to ask you about the expectations of this team. Obviously, always really high coming off the 3 straight championships. How much different do things feel entering this season versus the other ones? And what do you have to do, you feel like, to keep that edge?
I don't really have expectations. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, we need to win a national championship or oh, we need to win this certain amount of games. I feel like for me, the expectation is that we just continue to play above the standard and play Oklahoma softball. For me, I just want to have a joyful season, and I feel like we don't really need to change anything that we're doing. Just continue to teach to the younger group and just kind of let them know that knowledge that we kind of know and just pass it down.
Yeah, I think same for me, like senior year, just going out with a bang. I think every year we kind of have that culture and that standard, like she said, and it's just showing up every day, the chip on our shoulder, and I think we can't get complacent and just expect the wins to come to us, and it's constantly grinding and working harder than everybody else. So,
is it hard not to get complacent or stay on top of that and make sure that doesn't happen when you have the success that y'all have had?
No, I don't think it's difficult because in the end, like the accolades and the trophies, they're temporary. And I think for a lot of us, our purpose is not just to win, it's to glorify the Lord. And I think when you focus on the outcomes in the end, when it's already written, that's when you can get out like beside yourself. So we just have a team collective idea that it's already written. We don't need to press and be anything we're not and get complacent or have anything jumping ahead. We just know exactly what the Lord has in store for us. So,
Ryan and then Jenny.
Got one for each of you. Alyssa, just on the field, coach just talked about TRA playing a lot of short beside you. What's that dynamic been like as far as just like learning each other's voices, speak next to each other, as opposed to her being around the corner there at second?
Well, I have played third next to her in travel ball. We were on the OC Bat Busters together, so it's kind of just going back to the olden days, and we already have a really good feel together, and she constantly talks to me, and we're on the same page at all times, so it's been really fun, again, just to be right next to her, but again, defense is really fun for both of us, so just communicating a lot, and I think just us experiencing so many years playing together, we've just got it down, yeah.
And then Jayda, I know you're both veterans, but you are part of the group of 5 that have been here from the beginning, starting your last roll through. Have you had a chance to enjoy this process with not just the whole team, but those 5, as well as preparing for this? Like, are you able to balance that coming into your last year?
Yeah, I feel like the core 5, and it's so crazy that Brito wasn't there for like the first one because I feel like she's been here for so long. But I feel like we just truly find joy in the grind, like the complacency thing. Like, it is truly fun to like grind throughout the fall and like even during this time. So like when you get in the World Series, you feel so confident because you know that there's no one that has worked harder than you. And just the joy that this group has, and like she was saying, like, we live for the Lord. And so when we just know that it's already written, we can just go out there and have a blast. And I feel like that's where we find the joy, our core 5. I'm adding Brito to that. 6.
To both of you, I know obviously with your talent, a lot of it'll be sort of the off-field and the chemistry and stuff that really determines how good you guys are this year. One of the things I think it's been interesting to hear Patty talk about, like having individual meetings with you guys, whether it's coffee or breakfast or whatever. What are those sorts of interactions? What do you take from those? What do you hope she takes from those? And how do those, the fact that your head coach has taken the time to do that, just the impact you feel like that has on the team?
I think it just kind of goes to show how she's personable, and she knows like we have lives outside of softball and they can get difficult at times, and if we can be real with her, like in coffee situations, breakfast, whatnot, but I think that kind of creates that chemistry and relationship within a coach and a player to where like if we're struggling and we don't have it that day, we can go up to her and be like, hey coach, like it's a rough one today, this is all I got, but I'm letting you know like this is where I'm at. And that's just like that vulnerability, and for her too, she can come into our space and being like, you know, we're human too. We don't have it today, but, you know, we're going to give everything we have as coaches. And it's just that understanding that I think it creates.
I think it's important to know that Coach Gasso is a person. You kind of go through this recruiting process as like, oh my gosh, that's Coach Gasso. Like I can't do this or I can't do that. And Coach has done really well with having those sit down conversations. Like we talked about my boyfriends, and Coach is actually one of the first people I texted when I got engaged. I was like, hey Coach, I got engaged. And like her having those like personal conversations, knowing that like I can feel comfortable with her with like my personal side of things. And even for the freshmen to see, like I can go to Coach and talk to her as not just Coach Gasso, but as like a mom kind of. But you got to know when and where, but like I can always call Coach on the side and have that personal conversation with her. And I think it's important for the freshmen to know that too, that okay, like Coach she's human. She's a normal coach. You can go up there and talk to her. So I think that personal side is it changes everything.
Were either of you surprised? I mean, like you say, you get recruited and she's like this coach of the national champions and all that stuff. When she said, hey, yeah, we're going to go, I'm going to treat you to breakfast or I'm going to take you to coffee, was there any sort of like, wait, what? I'm getting this, like, was there any surprise in either of you to have that one-on-one time with her?
Not really, because during the recruiting process, she makes it feel such like home. Mm-hmm. And like we get to see her around her grandkids and like her son, and like we get to see that family like orientation. So like even during the recruiting process, we would go eat breakfast, like our parents would be there. So it wasn't because she wasn't doing it before, but I feel like I was just more nervous the first time to actually sit down and like be in front of Coach Gasso and like actually have to speak. But she's been doing that since I was in the 8th grade, so.
James over here.
I saw the video with you guys working out in the weight room I know it was based around Kinsey, but I've seen the results with you guys. I mean, it's noticeable, the power and how you've improved. Could you talk about the off season or just the workouts that you guys do and how it really helps you guys?
Yeah, I think the lifting side and just becoming more agile every year is really what I've seen improve in myself. I think definitely like coming in from Oregon, I wouldn't say that I was as strong as after my sophomore year when I built that foundation. And I mean, it's like weightlifting, it's like something you kind of do every morning and you're like, oh, it's just routine. But you really do see the results, and you see us like not getting tired in June, and like we're still powerful, hitting the ball over the fence, like hitting everything and being strong and like being able to use our bodies effectively. So I think it shows throughout the season and in the end especially, and that's why they really like harp on us getting our lifting times in even throughout season, especially throughout the fall, like building that.
Jayda?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I've said this probably multiple times, but like Dane Sommer was our strength coach during the time, and I came in as a freshman, like this little like 120-pound like little twig, and I was like, I want to hit the ball like Jossie and Tiare, so I knew I was gonna have to get in the weight room, get like right in with nutrition. But I think it's so important. I don't think a lot of people know that, but your strength coach and that relationship with him is so important. I trusted Dane with everything that I was doing, and he gave me plans that I could take over the summer, over Christmas break. And I mean, you can tell last year I hit like double or whatever, a lot more home runs than I did the previous years. So just like trusting your strength coach and having that relationship, and then also with like the nutrition side, making sure that you're eating right is very important.
You guys are going to play some really good competition this weekend. I think 4 teams been to the tournament, at least 3 did. You guys even think about that yet, or is it just a game? Or I know you guys get a good pregame, but do you worry about competition going into this opening weekend?
No, I think it only makes us better, and I think excellence craves excellence, and I think when people give us their best, it only makes us better. So I don't think we take it as like anything to watch out for. It's more of just like a growing moment for both teams, honestly. And playing someone really competitive early on in the year really gives you an idea of where you're at, both sides of the ball. So I think those games are really important. Like you saw it last year, like facing those top 5, Power 5s, it made all the difference for us to see where we were and then grow from that point on. But we're excited because those are just really great teams, well coached, so yeah.
Just a couple more, Eric, followed by Eli.
I want to ask you guys, Coach Gasso said matriarch of the pitching staff is Nicole. Can you talk a little bit about her competitiveness and just how she's grown into whatever role you guys need her to do, she does?
Yeah. I feel like Nicole's one of the most consistent pitchers I've seen around. I feel like she's low-key like underrated from like just the hard work that I see, and she's always getting out of jams. She's always being so clutch. But I just really like how calm and collected she is. So when she does get that big out and she like pumps us up, like someone that normally doesn't get fired up, seeing them fired up makes you fired up. So I think she's going to be really good for us this year.
I want to ask you also, I asked Coach Gasso about this. How does she challenge you guys? I know she always has her little competitive games. You guys have had success the last 3 years. What's it been like going into this season in terms of the way she's challenging you going into this year?
Yeah, all the pitchers. I get really, really frustrated with our pitchers. They're not one-dimensional, so I could have a game plan and they have 2 other game plans off of that. So, but going against that, like iron sharpens iron, you know, going against them, it's a mind game sometimes, which is kind of good that we're always constantly on our toes, always going against the best of the best. But yeah, I really get frustrated with Nicole May and her changeup very often.
Yeah, she's great because she can just go and spot to any part of the zone. And when you have pitchers like that that can do both, and you have someone like Coach Rocha behind them, absolutely just analyzing hitters and to the max, just putting in all the work behind the scenes. She does a really great job with them and allows them to use their confidence to their ability, and you see them go up there and they're just very confident in what they're doing. They're sure of themselves and they know they could trust us as well. So it's been really cool to watch, and it also is very frustrating. In the fall, I think we're all ready to face other pitchers because they're just so good. So
there's the ways that Coach Gasso challenges you guys on the field to get you ready, but I also know, talking to former players, she's got a lot of creative ways of motivating a team, movies, books. As experienced players have been here, how have you seen her use some certain tools like that, or are there perhaps some memorable ones that she has used to get her messages across?
Honestly, my favorite is like watching like OU play in the past, like watching Lauren Chamberlain and them play. Like when you get here, you know that there's a legacy that's already begun, and you want to continue that legacy, and you want to continue the dominance and the standard. So when we get to watch like film or like even practices from the 2012 team or like the national championship teams, getting to watch them in the College World Series and like just to see how like feisty and scrappy they are is very motivational to me, because I'm like, we got to fill those shoes every year, and that's just something that I strive for. I want to continue to pass the baton down and just to continue that legacy.
yeah, I would agree with everything she said. You have so many greats that have come out of this program, so it's really cool to kind of get to watch them when we were younger and then now stepping into that stage. But like she said, it just motivates because you've seen the championship mindset from the beginning, and it's just kind of bled into us and how we kind of handle ourselves. But for sure, she does a great job of creating atmospheres for us all knowing the culture and what that standard is, and she does a good job of it each year. So
Back to Eric.
I want to kind of follow up with the question about challenging Patty. Patty talked about how she wants to take ground balls by you. She doesn't want you to make a play. She's challenging you. Is that something you've seen when you first got to campus, and how has it evolved as you got to be older players? Or the games just that she's challenging and things like that, they become even more tougher? Is she really trying to really push you guys to the limit?
It's actually really fun, especially defense. I love making diving plays, and I feel like she's always like trying to just barely even bloop it like in front of me, or even JT like hitting it to the wall. Like, I think it makes the game more fun when you know you're trying to chase something, you're trying to make a diving play, and when you see someone make a diving play, it just gets you pumped up. Like when I see like Brito like make a backhanded double play like off one leg, I'm like, yes! So it like just gets everyone like pumped up, and it just shows you the standard. Like you're going full out 100% every single play.
I think she's challenged us too as older, like veterans, I guess we should say, is like being coaches of ourselves, and then like reflecting that to the younger ones, and really just like maybe taking those moments to stop and explain things to them, because it kind of puts it in a different perspective for us, and it's not just like not only a challenge for us like individually, but we have to carry that younger person next to us and build them up for when we end up leaving. So
All right, last question with Joe.
Jayda, Patty was talking about the historic nature of winning 3 straight and now going after a 4th straight. It just sounds crazy to even say out loud, but what goes through your mind when you hear something like that and the history that you guys are sort of chasing?
It's an honor. It's an honor to think about it, and I feel like when I talk to my family about it, it's not really set in to me. I feel like right now I'm just living life. I'm living where my feet are. I just want to live a peaceful, joyful life, just like anyone else. Not really trying to look too far in the future. I know that can get you in trouble. But it's exciting. It's fun. I'm excited for this season, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Just want to enjoy where I'm at now and enjoy my seniors.